This one's good. JC Die for All did a video on this one about the Watchtower and how they rendered Colossians 1:16 in their New World Translation in the Greek. I just want to real quick bring up how let me show you how to render it in the English. Let's see. Bring it up. Here is where it is. There it is. Colossians 1. And all brackets other things have been created through him and for him. He is before all other things, by means of all other things were made to exist. The others in brackets. And of course, anybody who tells a Jehovah's Witness how bunk is that the Watchtower put the word other in as like, hey, he's firstborn of all creation. It should be understood, since he's firstborn of all creation, that all other things were created by him. And we'll say, well, you know, that could mean he is the rightful heir of all. No, no, no. It means he is the first thing born of all creation. So it's perfectly justifiable to put the word other in. You're not going to convince me otherwise. Alright. Well, what you are staring at here, this jibber jabber, is the Greek New World Translation of Colossians 1. Let me actually, before I show you that, I'm going to bring up just the literal Greek of Colossians. Here's that's the regular interlinear. Here's the KIT. All right, here's Colossians 1:16. Because in him it was created all things. There's panta, all. It was created all in the heavens, the things visible and invisible, whether thrones or lordships or governments or authority. Panta, through him and into him it was created. And he is before all things. Panta, all things in him. Okay, so there's panta, right? There's all, panta. And I just want to quickly address, you know, and incidentally, here's a modern Greek Bible in dumbed down modern Greek. There is no Allah in the modern Greek Bible. I'm going to just zoom in. See it? Nope. Nowhere to be found. Same thing with the Bomvis. It's found there either. I want to address very quickly, well, as quickly as my big mouth will let me. I want to address the whole, it's just so understood, Christ being the firstborn of all creation, that it just needs to be understood. Since he's the first thing born of all creation, that of course he was created, since he's part of the group. He is part of the creation since he's firstborn of it. And guess what? I won't be boring you with another supremacy argument. So you were all clenching for a supremacy argument, and you're not going to get a supremacy argument. No, I don't have a problem if Christ is in the group catesis. I don't think that's the way that phrase should be understood. I got no problem with him being the arche of God's catesis. You know why? This is answeringislam.com, and I've mentioned this before. Sam Schauman, the guy in charge of Answering Islam, does an article about the way the cultists and Muslims misrepresent people like Origen, and the way they say things about Jesus. Let me back this out a bit. Alright. Same remark you made about the use by Origen in the pre-Nicene of the verb katesen and its derivative katesis and katisma. Proverbs 8:22 puts into the mouth of wisdom, who for most of the early fathers represents a son. The words hokorios and kisenme, a little further, is a question of generation of wisdom. Likewise, Colossians 1:10 calls Christ the firstborn of all catesis, thus including him in the catesis. That's why these words do not have for Origen the strict meaning of creating. From Genesis 1 and 2, from following the Septuagint, poein denotes the creation of spiritual natures, and plastein that of material ones. So katesen apply. Now listen real closely. Katesen applies to all of God's production. All right, listen real closely. All of God's production by generation. That is God eternally generating Christ, or by creation from nothing. The series katisma, poema, plus plasma is found expressly in this sense in the commentary, in Origen's commentary on John. This usage of Origen's is also found in the letter of Pope Dionysius about Dionysius of Alexandria and the affair of the two Dionysi. Here's the quote: "The expression et kesen, as you well know, does not have a single sense. The Arian quarrel will necessitate stricter terminology. Because of this pre-Nicene vocabulary, not suited to the more rigid theology which the reaction to Arianism would give rise, Origen would be accused by Epiphanius and Jerome of making creatures of the Son and the Spirit." In other words, alright, that was from, incidentally, that was from Henri Krausel's book, Origen. This guy's like the top Origen scholar. I don't know if you want to grow up, if you want to be an Origen scholar. Nonetheless, this guy's the top Origen scholar. I'm going to translate that. Okay. Origen had no problem, Origen and the other Nicenes had no problem putting Christ in the group of catesis, of what is generally translated creation, because to them, catesis had to do with what God produced. Now, God produced Christ by virtue of eternal generation. Is Christ begotten, the first begotten of all creation, the firstborn? Yeah, absolutely, because he is begotten of God. God has always been pouring his being into the being of Christ. So in other words, the first thing produced by God, out of all the things produced by God, sure, no problem. You want it? You got it. Know that the understanding that in the sense of the first thing created out of nothing by God, that didn't arise until well into the 300s. Okay? So, really, let that settle this whole firstborn of all creation debate. You guys don't have a leg to stand on to insist that this meant that Christ was created. So yeah, the Watchtower's busted. They just put the word all on right into the text like it's always been there. Just like they're copying from the Greek. Heck with the brackets. You know, what can I say? Watchtower's busted, and really, you're Jehovah's Witness. Please think about this, and please quit dogmatically insisting. You have no proof text now to insist that Christ is a creature. None.